So one of the questions submitted this month through social media is about reasons we might want to close the racial gap in earnings. Folks want to know whether and how we can communicate to corporations and investors that investing in racial equity is smart economic strategy. The operative question really comes down to smart for whom. The question implies that the answer would be smart for the overall economy, and there are good reasons to believe that's the case. But within the question, there's this assumption that the interests of corporations and investors are aligned with those of the middle or working class or with most Black folks in general. In many cases, they're not, and there might be ways that closing the racial gap in earnings could make some investors and corporations materially worse off. The short answer is this: closing racial economic disparities would bring about some radical changes to the U.S. economy, and whether you consider that to be smart economic policy or not depends on where you sit in the economy and, from a business perspective, what your production process really looks like. There's a ton of research that shows that economic inequality is a drag on economic growth. One of the biggest problems with deep income inequality is that the ultra-rich actually spend less of their money than working class folks, and spending is what grows the economy. If you want $1 million to circulate through the economy quickly, you're better off giving 1,000 people $1,000 than trying to get one person to spend $1 million. Inequality means more money and opportunity pools at the top, and that hurts growth and economic mobility. When people don't have enough to spend, the economy stalls, and that's how you get a recession. Now, we know broadly shared prosperity will lead to more economic mobility and overall stability, but who wants that and who doesn't? We can look historically at periods in the US where we had a more progressive tax system and more widespread union membership, and see that those led to more broadly shared economic growth where pay rose with productivity. But what happened in the 80s with Reaganomics, the rise of corporate finance, and the destruction of the labor movement happened for a reason. People serving the interests of corporations and the wealthy took control of the political system and reshaped our political economy so that more and more power and money concentrated amongst a smaller and smaller group of people at the top. We now have an economy that grows slower than it could, where more folks are in economically precarious positions than could be, or the whole of society is being warped by the interests of a wealthy elite. That's not smart economic policy for the middle and working class, but it's great policy for wealthy folks who have a huge amount of influence on how policy gets done.